Hi friends, welcome to Miss Lori's Craft Room. Today we're going to be working on having our Cricut draw watercolor images. So first thing you're going to do is obviously open a new canvas. I will include the file that I have done with Cricut images in the description of the video. So you're going to go over here to images, and forgive the video quality. I'm trying something new today and it's really interesting. So, and you're gonna, so over here on operation type, you're gonna do draw only. Click that, and then you're gonna type in flower. Alright, so you can see that there are a lot of images that are drawn. There's some really weird ones that you wouldn't use. But there are also some really pretty ones that we can use. Like this iris is really pretty. These poppies, I've used these poppies. So we're going to choose a couple different things today. So we're going to grab, excuse me, this poppy. And then we're also then going to take off the draw only. So just do any operation type. And then we're going to put in flower. Oh, it didn't do it. So hold on. I'm going to take off the draw only. So I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna do ownership, because there are some images that I want to that we're gonna use today, and I'm gonna do what I've purchased. So we're gonna only get. So I'm gonna show you how to edit a cut image to make it just draw for this situation. All right. So we're gonna go down and we're gonna find. Well, somewhere in here, my mouse does not like to click things. All right, so we're going to choose this one and this one. And I'm going to show you how to change those so that you're not going to have a weird line. All right. So we've added these to the canvas. And of course, it takes a few minutes to do this. All right, I'm going to scroll out. All right. So this is obviously the one we chose that's draw. You can see the difference. Single line, ready to draw. Now, this one is a cut image, this sunflower, or this daisy, and if you change it now, let's change it to pen, you're going to see that you have two double lines. Now we can get rid of one of the lines so we can make it draw nicely, because you don't want all these, in your watercolor, you don't want all these extra lines. So you're going to go down here to contour, well, it's going to think about it. Okay. And then this very top one, you're going to choose that. And then go back to your canvas. And now you can see that now all you have is one single line. So it's going to draw it really nice. And you'll have to just, paint in your stem, but that's super simple to do. Okay, and then we're going to do it, we'll just do it one more time. And then we'll change this one to pen. And then we'll choose it, and then we're going to go down to contour. Choose that top one. And there, now you have that nice, no, it didn't do it. Ugh. Sometimes contour is finicky. But it's a great tool to have. Well, hopefully it's gonna. Well, it did show that it did it, but it hasn't done it on the screen. Okay, now it's done it. All right. So these are ready for you to draw. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to create yourself either a card, go to basic shapes, get a card. I'm just going to change it to white because it's better. Now, the card size, just for a normal card where it's easy to get envelopes for, the card size would be 8 by 11. But because we're going to just do 1/2, we're going to mat this on another card, we're going to do 4 by 5.25. Okay, and then we're going to take it and bring it to the front, and then we're going to just size it. I'm going to unlock it, drag it, and then I'm going to drag a line. Well, first I'm going to duplicate the square, and then I'll drag a box around and attach. Okay, and then we'll do the same with the other one, with both the others. Okay, I'm going to unlock it. There. Duplicate again. I don't know if you guys, everyone else is getting double duplicates, but I get double duplicates all the time. Unlock. Drag a box. Attach. Drag a box. Attach. And then you're going to send it to Make It. Great, see? And then you'll just, in the Cricut, put your pencil in and have it draw. There you go. Okay, let's paint now. So you can see this is done with a pencil, and it's nice and light, but still can see it. And then this one was done with a Sharpie. I prefer the pencil, but you can see, you're going to see the difference when we get there, okay? So what I did was, to use the pencil, is I had originally, I bought these adapters. They come in, there's even a kit that has more than this, and they have a list of all of the different types of pens. So if you want to use a Sharpie, you're going to need to buy an adapter. And that's the red one. And so if you want to make it darker, then you're going to need to use a Sharpie, because Cricut does not make a water soluble. They don't make a permanent pen. Theirs are all water soluble, and so you're just going to get a mess if you try to paint it, okay? So when I first did it, I had to shave down my pencil, and then I had to hot glue it, and I didn't want to do that for you guys because that's too big of a pain. So all I did was I just used the double-sided foam tape, and that made it enough to fit in the adapter. So then I just put it in the adapter. You had to kind of push it down in there to get it where it needs to be, but it's not hard. Okay, so you drive it. So this is watercolor paper, and this just came from Walmart, $7.96. You get 30 sheets. You can make a lot of cards out of this. Okay, and then we're just using this inexpensive from Walmart, less than $10 watercolor colors, and then this is the brushes I got from Walmart too. These are like $4.96. So for around $23 or so, you probably could get started doing this. All right. Of course, you need a pencil, so or Sharpie. So let's get started. Okay. So the technique that we're going to be doing is called wet on wet. So you need a clean and well, this is my dirty water because I was already painting. And then this is your water that you clean your brush, and this is the clean one. You're going to get clean water. Okay, so we're going to start with this. So first thing you need to do is you need to get all of your paints wet. Well, the ones you're going to use for that time, okay? Get a clean brush, and then you're just going to, today we're going to use lavender and purple And then we're going to use yellow and orange. Oh yeah, and also greens. Some green and maybe even a little black, okay? So going to get those wet, and then that'll start dissolving it, and then you'll have like a little puddle. You'll be able to get your paint, okay? So you also want to have like a paper towel or an old rag, okay? So the technique we're doing today is called wet on wet. So you're going to get your clean water, okay? And then we're going to only wet the flower parts on this one. Now this one has been drawn with Sharpie. Okay, so we're just going to, you don't want to soak it, you just want to get it damp. You're just going to go all over. And if you can't figure out where you've been, you can pretty good with the dark, but when the pencil you'll see that you might need to lift it up so you can see. And you're going to see that this could not be an easier technique. Okay, so now I'm going to put that one aside. I'm going to use a smaller brush. Okay, so I'm right-handed, so I have this on the right side. Get my brush wet. Now I'm going to always start with a lighter because watercolor is translucent, and so you're going to build up colors. So we're going to start with the lavender, and I'm just going to, oh, that was not a clean brush. All right, clean it. Sorry guys. Clean that off because when you were looking, I was painting green leaves. Okay, so start again. See how I'm just kind of, I'm activating. The water is activating the paint. So all you're going to do is get some paint and you're going to start dropping color. Now it's okay if we're going to leave some white, okay? So now I'm going to go in with that maybe a little blue and just drop a little bit of blue here and there. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here to my darker purple and start adding, take a little color off there. Adding a little bit of purple. Okay, so this is kind of puddled here, and I don't want that, so I'm going to just pick up that extra water and wipe off my paintbrush. Because you don't want it to be muddy. See there? Pick it up so it's there. Okay, and we get some more water. Just get a little bit more purple. Isn't that simple? It could not be simpler. Got a little muddy up there, so I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. Okay, we're going to set this aside because I want the flowers to dry before I go in with the leaves. Because I do not want the leaf color to blend, them to bleed together. Okay, so we're just going to set this aside. Dries pretty quickly. Okay, so now we're going to do this daisy. Okay, and so we're going to wet, just put the clean water on just the petals, okay? I'm going to go back in with my big clean brush. Now with watercolor, your paper is going to warp just a little bit, but that's okay. Once it's dry, you can bend it back or you can even iron it flat again. Okay, see, I don't want that middle wet. Sorry, get talking. So I'm going to dry the middle. I don't want any water in the middle yet. If it gets a little wet, it's okay, but I want to wait and do that till there's a dryish, I should say. Okay, and once again on this, we're going to start with the lighter first, and that's our yellow. All right, so I'm going to go in. I'm going to use the big paintbrush for this one. I'm going to pick up the yellow, And I'm just going to start dropping it all along the outside petals. You can see how quick this is. You could do a whole gift card set in, you know, an hour. It does take a little bit longer because if you're going to have your Cricut dry, but okay. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab some orange. Oh, I didn't get my wet orange wet. Get some of this orange just when it's wet. Okay, and then I'm going to drop. See how I'm just dabbing it? And you want it to blend together. But it's going to do it by itself, so you don't like want to drag it out into it, okay? Now I'm going to go back and get a little bit more yellow. And it just will spread out. Okay, and you might even, you know, might just a touch out of the orange, but I don't really like that so much. Okay, and if it gets too, I don't really like that, so I'm going to dry my brush off and pick that back up. And remember, it's going to dry a lot lighter. Okay, so I'm also, on this one, I'm going to come in with a little bit of red. Just drop a little bit of red. And see how it goes, it's just going to go out. And then I'm even going to come back and get a little bit more yellow. And go again, right in the center. This is all going to flow out. Yeah. Okay, so this one I could go in. I'm going to go ahead and do the green right now because it is, they're not attached, okay? So I'm going to get a smaller brush for this, and I'm not going to do the wet on the leaves because they are much smaller, so you don't really need to do that. So I just went and picked up got my brush wet, and then picked up some wet green. I'm avoiding touching the yellow because I don't want them to run. Okay, and you're just going to keep doing that until I'm just going to follow the contour of the leaf. I'm going to pick up a little bit more water here because it's too dark for me. I'm just kind of wiggling my brush. And that's a really bad leaf, so you can just kind of draw it again. It just started pouring rain here. We had beautiful sunny days. This leaf wasn't attached, so I went ahead and kind of drew it in. Kind of doinked it up a little bit, but when it's all done, it's going to look fine. What I'll do is I'll just make this leaf a little bigger. Okay, this one isn't too dark, so I'm just going to go in and add just a little bit more. Don't be afraid to just play because watercolor paper is very inexpensive and it's super fun. See how simple it is? So I might just touch a little yellow in this too. I really like just adding a little yellow to things. Just brightens it up a little bit. See, isn't that lovely? So we're going to let this dry because I do not want to make that I want the center to be is going to be dark and I don't want them to blend together. So if I wanted to right now, I can get my heat embossing gun. Oops, it's not plugged in. And then I'm just going to carefully from way up here, because I don't want, because I have quite a few puddles right here. So I could just, I can just get a paintbrush and just lift up some of that. And lift it up, and drop, and then dry off the brush. Just to pick up a little bit of that. Now don't worry if you can see the pencil marks, because it's okay. It's going to add it adds texture to it. From far away you really can't see it, but I can see it obviously because I can see closer. So I'll just dry it a little bit with this. And what will happen is it's going to make the paper warp a little bit. But you'll be able to flatten it out super easily. So let's go ahead and let's make sure this one's dry so we can paint the leaves on this one. Okay, so on this one I am going to do wet on wet because they're a fuller leaf. Okay, so I am going to get some clean water with a smaller brush and just come in, and I don't want a ton of water. I have not tried the Cricut watercolor pens. I don't really like the look of pencils. I prefer it to be more flowing. I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm sure the pens are going to be great because Cricut does make great products. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead again and take some more of that same kind of sagey green because I like that. We're just going to drop it in. Oops, you don't want to get too much because it will get really dark. And when you do this, you'll see how it just flows through the water. And you can see now why we waited to till that was dry, because we did not want them to blend together. Once again, I'll probably just go pick up a little yellow. And add some extra to it. Okay, see how fast and easy that is? That's really pretty. Now, you can really see on the dark how, when you use a Sharpie, how it really shows through. And then I'm going to show you right here too. This is one I did that's roses. This is in Design Space, this roses, and it is a drawn image. So you don't have to do anything to it to use it. I think it was only 99 cents. So it was really good. Okay, so I'm going to clean my brush. You wouldn't think it would get clean in that dirty water, but it does. All right, so we're not going to do wet on wet in the center. We're just going to pick up some brown. I'm going to get some water, not a ton of water. You don't want a super wet brush because you don't. What we're going to do is kind of dab. Okay, because we want, you know, like a center kind of looks like. You see, I'm just dotting it. And I'll come and get a little bit darker or a different color. And I'll even come and get just a touch of black. I will tell you that there are a lot of really great tutorials out there on watercolor. Lots and lots of fun. I will link you to a couple of my really favorites that have just helped me learn how to do some just simple fun things. See how easy that is? Now, one thing to remember, when you make your cards, make sure you either do a little signature and the date that you did it, because people are going to want to save them because they're really pretty. And then, now on all of these, I got solid paper. This is an 8.5 by 11 that I cut in half, okay? And then you're just going to, when it's dry, obviously, straighten it out and then attach it. See how pretty that is? Now, you can use dimensional tape, or for quick, I did hot glue the other day because I could not find my ATG gun, my double-sided stick tape gun. My son has it somewhere, and I don't know where it is. And so I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, and you guys have a fantastic day, and God bless you. Thanks.